think I was about 10 years old when I started smoking cigarettes. So that was how I started.
10 years
My
old.
mother should not hear this, so she doesn't.
Did he say he was 10? Bro, my younger brother just turned 13 recently, and I can't even. Bro, 10. 10 years old. Wow. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Yeah, I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody's doing great. So, today's video is a video by Cruz. For many of you who are familiar with the YouTube channel Cruz, they've been very active with their content. Their content is actually very great, man. If I have to be very honest, like Cruz have been doing such great work. Shout out to Cruz. So Cruz are they've basically been doing this thing whereby they invite people with real life experiences, people that have gone through a lot of shit in their lives, and they just like get a panel of people to like ask them questions, which I think is a good idea, so other people can not only learn from these people but get to see what life is like in their shoes. You know, when we did the last video, we said it's very easy to judge people that are doing a particular thing that don't align with your morals or your ideals, but like it's not easy to get to know where they're coming from. You understand? Like it's only people wearing the size 45 that will see how tight it actually is. So today's video is actually about a former drug addict. They got him on stand, to put him in the same position I just explained. So the title is basically "I was a drug addict. Ask me anything." Keyword was. So let's just get started.
At what age did you start doing drugs?
I think I was about 10 years old when I started.
What does it feel like to be high? How much do you spend on drug a day?
Do you still miss drugs or the feelings it gave you then?
In as much as you won't advise anybody to use drugs, would you say that it actually worked?
What is the biggest lesson you've learned?
I almost ran mad. I was one puff away from going insane. My spirit just told me that if you drag this thing one more time, you are going to run mad. My mind kept telling me that you are mad now, take off your clothes and start screaming. Just telling God that if he saves me from this one, I will never ever.
Would you like to
Everybody
reveal your
says that.
identity to us
Everybody
today?
says that. God, if you can deliver me from this. This is going to be a very good video. It's going to be very informative. Like, cause I have friends in that same position who are like into that, and I have never for once ever judged them. Like never, but like it'd be nice to know where, like a semblance of where they are coming from. Like without having to actually ask them. Like you understand. So this is I got high hopes for this video, Sha.
We brought one person who has survived drug addiction and 20 random people to ask them any question of their choice. Can the first person now ask a question?
What does it feel like to be high? I mean, that apogee level, that climax. Do you feel like at that point you are in control? Or something is taking over you? Or are you totally oblivious of your physical environment?
Different people react to different drugs differently. Or let me say, different people react to the same drugs differently. For me, I did not have that kind of experience. For some other people, they will take the same drugs and they will have like a nervous shutdown or stuff like that. As to how it feels like to be high, for me, it made me very confident. I was 100% in control of everything I was doing, but I was just much more.
And that's the thing a lot of people don't tell you about taking drugs. The thing is, it's not the same for everybody. No matter how you want to look at it, it's not the same for everybody. There are some people that will take maybe colos for the first time. People can take colos for the first time and they'll be fine. And you might just take it once and that's the end. Like you ran mad completely. That's why I always tell people, don't, apart from not comparing yourselves to others, don't believe that, I won't call it grace, but your immune systems are not the same. What might work for me won't work for you. You understand what I'm trying to say? So I like the way he was able to highlight that different people react differently to the same drugs. That's the truth. Different people react differently to the same drugs. So when you think about it, you that is taking colos, that has been taking it for you that have been taking it for a while, that nothing has happened to you, I might decide to take it once. I might think deep down that my immune system is stronger than yours because maybe I go to the gym, I exercise, I eat better food. So me, I'll be thinking, maybe I'm healthier than him now. So if I take it once, nothing will happen. and then before you know it, everybody's chasing you in your boxers. So let's just continue to the video, Sha.
Confident than I would have been when I was not high. For no reason, even if you have all the problems in the world, when you are high, you're just pretty much very happy. But it doesn't last for long, obviously.
Okay, at what age do you start doing drugs? And what drugs?
I think I was about 10 years old when I started smoking cigarettes. So that was how I started.
10 years
My
old.
mother should not hear this. So she doesn't.
Did he say he was 10? Bro, my younger brother just turned 13 recently, and I can't even. Bro, 10. 10 years old. Wow. That's life, man.
Doesn't know this part.
My name is Archie. I've always wanted to know if you have had any misconceptions that people have when they are addicted to drugs that you have to deal with, even though it was not so.
One of the major misconceptions I know I had, drugs was solving a problem for me. It was a means of escape, but it was not really solving any problem because I grew up in a home where my dad always kept comparing me to other children. I'm an introvert. I don't talk very loud. I'm not very outspoken. So he kept comparing me to children that were more outspoken than I was then. I grew up with like a very serious low self-esteem, and the drugs made me high, in quotes.
No parent should ever have to compare their child to others. No parent should ever do that. I know many of the people watching this video, that's probably how you grew up, especially as a Nigerian child, like, living in an African home. No, like, that was seriously fucked up, man. We should have never had to go through that. Even if they said it was just a way, because if you ask them now, they'll tell you, I was just looking for a way to encourage you. Nah, nobody should ever have to go through that because, like he said, low self-esteem. And to me, I don't know if it works for everybody, but me, if that thing about, I will start hating the other person they're comparing me to. Like, that's a fact. Like, I'll start hating, like, because even though you didn't mean it, I mean, not like you're the one telling my parents to compare me to you, but like, deep down, but I always have this kind of resentment towards you because they've painted you as this good, I don't know if that's what I'm trying to say, this good Guinean, as if me. So, no parent should ever have to do that. This is just a disclaimer, man. No parent should ever have to compare their kids with others. Find another way to encourage them, or I don't know. But comparing them is not it.
When I was high, I was able to do a lot of things that I wasn't able to do normally. The misconception was that the drugs was solving a problem for me, problem of low self-esteem, because even when people tried to help me get out of drug addiction, I felt like I did not have a problem because I wasn't causing anybody any problems. I was just on my own.
My name is Chisom.
Hi, Chisom.
What does withdrawal feel like? I've read a couple of books about people wanting to stop, but their body betrays them. I wanted to get a first-hand experience how it feels like.
Withdrawal feels like me asking you now to stop eating food forever. Not the food you like stop eating food. Drug addiction for me was survival. I was using it to cope with my issue of low self-esteem. When I had to withdraw, it was tough. Withdrawal feels painful. It feels like you are sick. It feels like energy is draining, away from your body, and especially in the first 2 weeks. In some places, they give you some other drugs to suppress the appetite for the drug you were dealing with. But mine was not like that. It was full withdrawal and it felt very tough.
It kind of puts some things into perspective because I've been hungry and maybe because I'm doing something and I can't eat immediately. I know how I feel. Then imagine feeling times 12, times 10, times 100.
Withdrawing from drugs being like withdrawing from food. So when you tell them to...
That is the best. That is arguably the best way he could have explained it. Like, not just not being able to eat your favorite food, being hungry and then you can't eat food at all. Imagine being hungry and you can't eat food at all. Like, you can't eat anything. You can't eat bread, you can't eat rice, you can't eat even that pounded yam and egusi that you claim to hate so much. Although I don't know why any normal person I don't see why any normal person would not like pounded yam and egusi. But even that pounded yam and egusi that you claim to dislike so much, imagine not even being able to eat it and you're seriously hungry. Man, that's the best way to explain withdrawal to me, honestly. I don't even need a dictionary meaning to explain what withdrawal is like.
Stop without dealing with what they are dealing with. It's a lot like telling people to stop eating food without giving them an alternative to deal with hunger.
How much do you spend on drug a day?
I can't really remember, but what I can remember is that I had a budget for drugs monthly. And at the time I was dealing, so I had a lot of money. And this was like 2011-ish. So monthly it was going to around 200,000. But as to how much I spent a day, I can't really say. Yeah.
Why are they
Do you remember?
Sorry, why are they surprised that it's that expensive? This is as far back as 2011, where things are definitely still be better. To see, to sustain, God, wait, to sustain a drug addicted lifestyle in 2026 is more than double. Sorry, more than double of what he just said. In fact, I wouldn't be exaggerating if I said it was triple. Yes, because drugs are very expensive. They're expensive because of the manufacturing. It's not like you can have a company that says, oh, okay, we're getting a manufacturing license for making drugs. It's high risk. It's high risk to manufacture these drugs. It's high risk to bring them into the country. It's high risk to even sell them amongst the people. So all of those things into account. Obviously, the drugs were expensive. I don't know why they're surprised that, like, his drug addicted lifestyle cost that much. And also, man, he was even responsible. At least he said he had a budget. Some people would sell their grandfathers. I'm saying it. Some people would sell their grandfather's only plot of land with the grandfather join just to be able to pay for their drug addicted lifestyle. At least he had a budget. He was a responsible drug dealer, if there's anything like that.
Who introduced you to the drugs and how you feel remembering the day now?
I remember the person. I just don't want to call his name because he almost ruined my life. I remember that day, before I used to smoke cigarettes and all, and then this boy just told me that there's something that can give you more kick, and that was how he was rapping something, and he gave me, and the kick I got that day, okay, let me know, like, was awesome, but I mean, please don't do drugs. So now that I am sober, do I feel like I could delete that day? Yes and no. Yes, because I honestly feel like I could have been farther now in my life, in everything I'm doing, in my filmmaking. I would have been farther ahead now if I did not spend all those like 10 years doing drugs and just doing nothing.
When did you realize that you're addicted and you need to get unaddicted from the drugs? The second one is, what is the effect of your drug addiction on your loved ones? I've been with someone that did drug constantly and it affected the relationship we had and living conditions. Whenever I tried to like help, they were not ready to be helped. That's why I wanted to know when it's right to step in without pushing them away.
Let me start with the second question. The way I can explain it in a layman's terms for you to understand is like when somebody is mad, the person doesn't feel shame, but their loved ones feel shame. On the person using the drugs, the stigma is not always there. I felt like I did not have a problem, but the stigma was more on my family and my loved ones. But when did I realize that I needed help?
Imagine having an older brother that you've always looked up to doing drugs. Like, just imagine. Imagine it like that big bro that you always looked up to, that you always wanted to be like, that seemed to have all the answers for everything. Imagine you find out that he's a drug addict. I'll just leave that question in your heads and let me know what it's going to be like in the comment section. But just imagine that kind of life. That's what the shame feels like.
When I got expelled from university in my final year, and I spoke to my mom and she was crying. And I don't like to see my mom cry. I did not want to go back home to her because I knew that I would have to watch her cry. Somebody referred me to a rehab called Christ Against Drug Abuse Ministries. And so I decided to go there because at that point, I was already tired because I was just going in a cycle. I get high, it helps me do what I want to do. I come down, and then I feel bad, I feel low, and then the next day I get high again. There was a time I tried to stop, but I felt so sick. I thought I was going to die, and then I just caved in. I went back and I was fine. But at the time when I was expelled from 400 level, I knew that I needed to find a permanent solution to this.
Pause! Before we eventually ask you guys to subscribe as usual, we want to say Happy New Year to everyone. I know you guys missed us, but if you want us to be consistent this year, get us to 500,000 subscribers. That's the goal. If you're not subscribed, now is the time to subscribe to the channel. Now, let's get back in the show. And listen to this busy.
Yeah. As Cruz is telling people to subscribe to their channel, Abax is telling you to please subscribe to my own channel too. If you want, we're trying to get to. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers before the end of this year. It's very doable. I know we can do it. We can do it. Yes, we can. So, Cruz is telling you to subscribe. Then they're trying to get to 500. There's levels to this thing. We have to start small. But also, I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. So, subscribe. Thank you very much. We move.
My name is Bolu. At the time when you wanted to quit, when you decided to quit, what kind of support would you have loved your loved ones to give you?
When I want to do something, I just do it whether people support me or not. For people that want to go into drug recovery, one thing they would really need is support from their family, because drug addiction is kind of like being sick with malaria or typhoid. So if you're sick now and you need to go to hospital for treatment, you would want all this support you would need from your loved ones. My dad was very unsupportive, but I really did not care because my mind was already made up that I wanted to do this thing, and I just went ahead with it.
Wait, what? Wait. Sorry,
Based off the studies I've made, I've come across people who usually contribute.
How would your dad be unsupportive of you going to rehab? I don't know. I can't actually think of a reason. I can't think of it. Maybe he will. I can't actually think of a reason. Why? I mean, you're finally getting the help that you so desperately need. So why would he have an issue with that? I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
That over time their body started resisting the levels of the drugs that they took. So did that also happen to you?
Yes, that happened to me. I will just use an example of cannabis. I started getting high on one wrap. After a while, it went to 2, it went to 3. Let me not say how much it went, but it went really high at some point. And then I remember one time, I was just very curious to know how high was like the highest high that one could get. And I remember very clearly, I almost ran mad that day. I honestly feel like I was one puff away from going insane. My spirit just told me that if you drag this thing one more time, you are going to run mad. And so I just stood up and I left the place. As I was going, my mind kept telling me that you are mad now, take off your clothes and start screaming. I went back to my room. I was so scared that I was going to run mad, so I tied my hand on my bunk so that in case I sleep and I run mad, I will just be there until somebody comes to find me.
I mean, you have to give him props for like preparing for the worst, man. Like he already started treating himself like a mad person before he even ran mad. God, man. Man, they say don't do drugs, man. This is why. Imagine tying yourself to your bunk bed because you're not sure if you're going to run mad or not. Crazy.
Just telling God that if he saves me from this one, I will never ever. But the next day I woke up, I was fine, and obviously, you know what happened.
Alright, for it to be called an addiction, it must have been done over a period of time.
Yep.
Yeah. So during that period of time, what always took you back to the drugs? Is it the thrills itself or something else like stress or frustration, the likes?
It was the fact that I could not cope without being high. I could not talk to a lady. I couldn't do class presentations if I was not high because I was really, really, really shy and I had a very low self-esteem. What kept making me go back was the fact that it was working.
During the course when you were in
the truth is, if the common saying, the common phrase is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I can't blame him for not stopping, if I'm being honest. Bro, it's just like having Let's take studying. If studying the night before an exam, for those of you that are in university, if studying the night before if studying before, if studying the night before, like, what is wrong with me? Whatever. If studying the night before an exam, let's say your hardest course, works, like every time you study the night before, you always get A in that course, and you've been doing it since 100 level, 200 level, 300 level, I guarantee you're not going to change when you get 400 level. That's why I say it's a system. It works for you. So in his own case, taking drugs helped him do things that usually would not, like, it would be hard for him to do. It helped him talk to ladies. It helped him do class presentations, things that require a lot of confidence. So I can't fault him for doing that. Like, I honestly cannot fault him for that. You get?
Was there any time you ever thought that this, what you were doing, was dangerous to your health?
So I always knew it was
Obviously,
dangerous to my health,
it's
but it
dangerous
was
to your health.
working at the
Exactly.
time. It felt
Exactly, just like what I said. Sleeping, okay, reading the night before an exam is actually not good for your head. Why? Because if the course is by 8 a.m. the following day, 8 a.m., 10 a.m., you're depriving yourself of the much needed sleep that you need to prepare your brain. You understand? So it's basically tit for tat. You're basically picking your poison, gaining a large amount of knowledge that you know you'll be able to retain by the time you write the exam, but sacrificing your sleep and rest. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? I'll say it one more time just in case you guys didn't I'll say it one more time just in case you guys didn't understand me. You're basically picking your poison. Let me sit up to make this point known to you guys. Let me sit up. Okay. Let me sit up. You're basically picking your poison in many situations like this. For him, he knew it was dangerous to his health, but it was working. Just like the case of the illustration I gave earlier, you know that you're depriving yourself of sleep and everything. But guess what? It's been working since 100 level. Why change now?
like my health was not as important as my everyday life. I wasn't able just to live a normal life that people were living, except I was high. So I was high almost all day. Like, okay, maybe only when I was sleeping. I wasn't really eating well. I was just always high because I just needed to always be confident. So I knew it was dangerous to my health. And it annoyed me when people told me that, oh, this thing you are doing is bad. It can make you sick. Like, I'm not stupid. I know.
My name is Ajoke. What kind of drugs did you take? And at some point, when you were at the rehab, were you like diagnosed with any other mental issue?
You can tell this is a very difficult question.
I was not diagnosed with any mental illness, but I did everything except cocaine because I couldn't afford it. It was really expensive, but I was going to get there when I could afford it.
Oh,
Amadepeju, what was your experience when you were in the rehab?
It's called Christ Against Drug Abuse Ministries. It's a Christian rehab owned by Redeemed Christian Church of God.
Nah, but sincerely, shout out to Redeem. No, and shout out to them, man. Dave, I've heard different stories about, you know, they're actively trying to fight drug addiction by establishing rehabs like this. You know, I haven't heard a story. I don't know how true it is that they don't they don't really expel students for drug related offenses. They try not to. What they just do is they try to rehabilitate these students. They try to make them better people, and that's all you can really ask for, man. The truth is, in as much as drugs terrible, drugs ruin your life and everything they've been telling us, I still believe people can change. We should all believe people can change, especially in religious institutions. You shouldn't just expel students because they're into drugs like some schools that we know. Those schools that we know that they just expel you. But man, let's try and rehabilitate. So shout out to Redeem, man. And I'm not just saying this because it's my church, but shout out to Redeem, man. They've really one more time for Redeem. One more time. Desire of Nations, that's my church. Jabi, make sure you frequent there.
Do there ideally is replacement therapy. They take away the drugs and give you God, ideally.
Yes.
And they tell you that when you relapse in your faith as a Christian, there's a high possibility that you are going to relapse into drug addiction. So the experience was pretty much prayer, deliverance, because with drug addiction comes other vices like being promiscuous, sometimes stealing, and people would have laid some wicked curses on you. There were people there that were armed robbers. There were people there that had killed people. There are all manner of people there. And most importantly, there were...
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. One more time for Redeem. People won't understand why I'm doing it. One more time for Redeem, man. Because I've been to places where they just cast these people away. So, man, for Redeem to do this, and I'm sure this isn't this is someone actually saying this. It's not like it's a PR stunt or anything. This is someone that actually had his life saved by that. So shout out to Redeem, man.
Therapy sessions that helped to get to the root of why you got into drug addiction in the first place. So that's how I was able to see that my issue was low self-esteem. When you're able to find the root cause of what brought you to the point where you're using drugs, drug addiction is always easier to attack.
Thank God he was taken to the rehab. What of those that are still dealing in drugs, but they don't know how to get out of it? It's really disheartening.
Yeah, it is.
My name is Damlo. What is the pettiest thing that you've ever done in order to purchase a substance that you've abused?
I can't say it on camera. The person will kill me. I can't. I'm yet to confess to the person. I'm sorry, but I can't do it. He will kill me. The whole event just flashed in my head, and I just realized that I've actually not thought about this for a long time. I never confessed to the person. I didn't think I could just answer it on camera without first discussing with the person that was involved.
I'm Nedu. I believe you're a Christian. How effective has the God factor has helped you with dealing with drug abuse? And secondly, you said you did everything aside from cocaine. So I read that 1 out of 10 persons that are involved with drugs involving with syringe are infected with HIV. So what do you think about that? And do you think it's true?
Yes, I think it's true. But at the same time, I had a lot of information. I was very careful, especially with stuff that had to do with syringe and all. The God factor is just one part. There are like several other things I do and I've been doing to help me stay clean. 13 years now does not mean there have not been times when I got close. But because of
13 years clean. That's another applause for it, man. 13 years it's cool.
The kind of life I had built around me, the kind of people I have around me, it's more difficult for me now. This year, I even had an experience that, brought me rock bottom, and I felt like after all these years, this is the time when this is finally going to happen. People say that what God cannot do does not exist. Yes, I believe that, but there are some things that God will not do for you because He gave you sense to do it. There are places I don't go. When I got into filmmaking, I intentionally did not, shoot music videos because there's a lot of drug from the artists, from the props and all that. Other people can work there and cope because that's not their weakness, but I cannot do that. At the rehab, we're told that your recovery journey is all through your life. You never get to a point where you just feel like you are clean now and then you can now decide to now start doing anything you like.
Yeah, and a lot of people actually do make this mistake. They believe that, okay, I'm clean, like I'm good, I'm sober, I can, the thing is that it's the environment constitutes a lot to it. That's the truth. The environment constitutes a lot to it. Let's say you're addicted to porn. Let's say you're addicted to porn. Like you watch porn a lot. Just because you've quit it for like a month, 6 months, 9 months, a year, doesn't mean you can scroll on Instagram and see a girl with, shaking that, and you'll be like, okay, I'm sure one video won't hurt. She's fine. Let me go to her profile. Before you know it, you see more videos of her. Before you know it, you see videos where she tagged her friends that also have big. Exactly. You have gone to her friend's page. You have gone to the friend's page. Before you know it, and anything can happen, man. Am I saying that most people can't handle it? That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that the possibility of you slipping back into that life, or at least a semblance of that life, is actually very likely. Like it's very high. Like it's there. So when you're on a recovery journey, just avoid it. No matter even if it's drugs, if it's porn, if it's alcohol, if it's anything, just avoid whatever, like avoid being in that space. Even anything resembling, just avoid it completely.
As someone who's also dealt with a form of addiction myself, what's that one
you're addicted
event
to?
that was so gruesome, almost made you wanted to relapse?
Okay, when I was in NYC, I met this babe that I thought I was going to marry. I knew that
So it's a
she
woman.
liked me, we liked each other, everything was good, but I just noticed that she was holding back. At some point, I asked her what was actually the problem, and then she told me that she had somebody she was going to get married to. From what she said, she didn't really want to marry the person, but her parents wanted her to marry the person because he was the same tribe as they were, and I was not the same tribe, so it was going to be an issue. That broke me in a way that I did not think it was going to break me. That was actually the first time after rehab that it got so bad I thought I was going to relapse. But apart from the God factor, what also helped me was the kind of people I had around me. There was almost nowhere I could go and do it because everybody that knew me had this certain standard that I looked at before we became friends. So it was just really difficult. So I had to just go through the heartbreak, and it was really, really difficult. I don't even know if I've recovered fully.
Amphi, is there
And the truth is, he could have easily relapsed in that moment. Now, can we hold the girl 100% responsible? I know it's your fault he relapsed. No. But the truth about heartbreak, especially when it comes to men, is that when you go through that particular heartbreak, when you're going through it, you tend to do things that you told yourself you'd never do again. That's the truth. People handle heartbreak differently, definitely, but and obviously, but like when it gets so bad, like he was going to marry her. They weren't just dating. He wanted to marry her. So in cases like that, it's very easy to be like, you know what, fuck the world. I'm just going to go back to being nobody cared. Like I actually do applaud him for staying strong throughout this whole thing because I guarantee you, many people would have used that as an excuse to relapse. Personally, I wouldn't blame them. I wouldn't hate on them. I wouldn't judge them. That's not what I do as a person. That's not me. But it wouldn't change the fact that those amount of years where they weren't doing drugs, where they were clean, would have been wasted. Even if the reason was a bit justifiable. Yes, I know people say it's just emotional, don't need an emotion, but the truth is that heartbreak, heartbreak will humble you. Shout out to him again.
the
Man.
difference between the version of yourself before addiction and the version of yourself now?
I think that there's a very, very distinct difference between the version of myself that was using drugs and now. Right now, I don't have to be high to be confident. I can talk to pretty much anybody in this world. And I think the major difference has been God. Honestly, it may sound cliche, but that's like a very, very, very important thing that has like really made a difference between me before and now. The person I was usually always very moody. Right now, I feel like I'm usually always just on serious. I don't like when everywhere is just so serious, and so I always just try to bring down the tension. I am more productive than I was before.
What is the one thing that drug took away from you that you can never get back? And do you forgive yourself for that?
I'm on my way to forgiving myself. To a large extent, I have forgiven myself, majorly because I feel like if I knew better, I would have done better. So I cut myself some slack. But I think the one thing it took away from me is time and resources. Resources I can get back. I think I've been able to get back, but time is just something that I think that once it's gone, you cannot get back.
What's the craziest amount of money you've ever spent on drugs?
300,000. Mind you, it was in 2011, so it was a lot of money then. I was dealing drugs and I was also using. It's an expensive lifestyle and I did not have a job, obviously, so I needed to have a way where I was making money. So like I said, drug addiction comes with different other vices.
It's really personal to me. I have a friend, like a family friend, that is a drug abuse victim. He has gone to rehab multiple times. He got expelled from school. Because of that, he couldn't finish university, but he's out of the country now. So he's just living from hand to mouth, but he's still, someone I love. So I just wanted to learn from it and what could really help.
Have you ever introduced anybody to drug? And if you did, how do you feel about that now? I'm coming from a place of experience also. I think I owe it to the community out there. I was once a substance abuser also myself.
I never introduced anybody, and that's majorly because I just believe that everybody should make their own choices. Even though somebody introduced me to it, I did not see the need to introduce anybody to it. If somebody had come to me and told me he or she was dealing with low self-esteem, I probably would have recommended, but I didn't have to, because I always just felt like everybody should make their own choices.
In the past, was it difficult to maintain relationships? One, and now that you're in recovery, has it been navigating relationship? Has it been tough to open up? Oh, I'm dealing with this, and how did they handle it, if any? So you're bringing somebody new into your life, and you want the person to know exactly what your trigger points are, so the person don't go and expose you to those things that you don't want to be exposed to.
First of all, nobody even knew that I was even dealing with any drug addiction of any sort, because like I said, it was a coping mechanism. So you will never see me with drug, you will never see me smoking or anything, but I was just a pretty chill guy. I was very chill. I think I am very likable. I didn't have any issues navigating relationships.
And this is the thing about people who do drugs. For some people, it might be obvious self-esteem, maybe when they are reacting or whatever. Others, not so much. That's the truth. Others, not so much. They don't write it on. It's not written on foreheads. Like, this person is a drug addict. No, it's not written. So, personally, anybody can be a drug addict. Bro, I've been friends with people that I never thought they were drug addicts, because they were always very chill guys. Like we were guys, like my homies, we're bros. So to now all of a sudden hear that they've been expelled. For what? It can't be stealing. I know it most likely isn't fornication. So what happened? They were doing drugs. Huh? Nah, that's not possible. It's not possible. So they don't, for people out there that you just see someone like, he looks like he does drugs, let's go and drug test him. To all those schools out there, they're like, how far? His hair is okay. Let's go and drug test him. She's shaking it out. Let's go and drug test him. Any small thing, drug test is sweetening your body. They don't write it on forehead, bro. It's not written on forehead. This person is a drug dealer. A drug addict.
Because most people did not even know that I was dealing with this thing.
Definitely.
Even now, it's not difficult for me, because honestly, I think one of the gifts God has given me is being very likable.
Do you still miss drugs or the feelings it gave you then?
No, I don't. I am in the best part of my life now. I just regret that. I spent all those time, but I don't miss it. I feel like I'm even more confident now.
Is there anybody, or aside your mom, the community that you can say supported your recovery?
In the beginning, it was the rehab community, pastors there and the people that were in my set when I attended the rehab. The more I kept, going and building more relationships. So now I have a lot of people that actually look out for me now. This year, I went through a rough patch. Two of my closest friends came to my house and just felt like you can't be staying alone at this point. Come and stay in our house for like a week. And I have accountability partners, which is very important. They are the only ones that can understand what I feel at a certain point. Some of my friends can support me, but they don't really understand what I'm dealing with. People that we went to the rehab together, that we are accountability partners to each other. So that's where I am now in terms of community.
All right, thank you. This is for those that have.
And this is the truth. It's what I've always advocated for. Nobody's perfect, first of all. That's the truth. Nobody's perfect, whether you like it or not. The best people are going to tackle these issues and so many other issues is by community. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? It is by community. The truth is that I understand you saying, it's not part of ID. I understand you sitting on your moral high horse, being so surprised. I reject it. No wahala, it's okay, calm down. It has happened, it has happened. We should be looking for a solution. My mom always says something. She says she doesn't have time to be shouting and screaming over what has already happened. Her own is looking for the solution. And that's how it should be. He said the pastors, his friends came and said he shouldn't be. Bro, that is what we need. I will never, listen to me, I will never condemn any friend of mine that is addicted to drugs. Never. I would never do that. Why? Because I knew that that person can still change. I might end up being part of his story one day, years, 20, 30 years from now, that okay, Abax was one of the people who came through for me. He made sure I stayed off those drugs. He was with me every day. So don't be so quick to say, he does drugs. You now be shitty, you now be dodgy when they see the person. No, don't do that. We need community. Maybe not even necessarily religion, say, because any religion can do it. We need a community that's okay. How far? This is our son. He's falling in with the wrong crowd. He's doing this and that. How can we help him? How can we be better as a community? And I guarantee you, if that thing works, or in fact, you know what? When it works, because it works 80% of the time, the reason it's just it looks like it's not working is because we are so quick to condemn before we even start helping the person. No, I'm not saying you should pet people that are doing drugs. No, but I'm trying to say that we should be more focused on helping these people than condemning them. Let's try and help these people. So, basically, we need a community. It's a community issue. We can do it. I'm advocating to every single person out there. We can do it.
Engaged with drugs for over a decade now. Do you think that they are going through a possible phase of denial? They are aware that they want to stop, but they don't particularly want to accept it, perhaps as a result of the fear of being stigmatized. Did you ever go through that phase?
Drug addiction and living in denial are just beside each other. I went through a long phase of living in denial because I felt like I didn't have a problem. I was just getting high to get confident and I was doing what I wanted to do. In terms of what I needed at the time, I think I just needed to be accepted for who I was or who I am at the point. I don't want you to tell me I have a problem. I knew I had a problem, but I did not just accept that I needed help. And for somebody that is dealing with addiction to get help, you must accept that what you are doing is a problem and you must accept that you need help. But most times, people that deal with addiction just want people to accept them the way they are. Most times, they know that they have a problem.
What is one misconception that the general public has of someone that is struggling with drug addiction?
One general misconception that the society has with people dealing with addiction is that when you are dealing with an addiction, you are weak. People think that it's a moral problem, but it is not. It is just mostly a coping mechanism for people who are dealing with something deeper than addiction. So it could be alcohol, it could be, for some people, it could also be gambling that they are addicted to.
In as much as you won't advise anybody to use drugs, would you say that it actually worked? It helped your self-esteem and every other thing?
Yes, whatever shortcut you take, it will cost you. And when you cut corners, you definitely have to pay somehow. I will not exactly say low self-esteem has gone. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is that even when you feel afraid, you still do it. So right now, there are some things that I want to do. That low self-esteem thing still comes, but I just overcome it. When I was called to come and do this, the first thought that came to my head was like, me. Why would they want to talk to somebody like me? But I'm here.
The fact that it was honest to that question just made me see different perceptions to him, actually. He said, yes, it worked, but it's not good. He would never advise anybody to use it. He would never go back to it.
And I think that's one thing. It's like people, it hasn't been erased from history. Yes, he was once a drug addict. That's why the video says, I was a drug addict. Ask me anything. Not, I am no longer a drug, like, it never happened. No, it happened. That's what it happened. Like, whether you like it or not, it happened. So, I'm actually very proud of him for the fact that he said, okay, you know what, this happened. I got through it. I won't say it's completely erased from history. It's still an L for me, whether I like it or not. It's still an L. Yeah. It's an L for him, whether I like it or not. Like, it happened. It happened in the past. It was a past L. But at least he's better now. better late than never. Imagine if he never got through his drug addiction and he ended up with a syringe in his arm, lying and he got her somewhere with his head chopped off because he couldn't pay his because he couldn't pay the money he was owing his dealers or whatever. So he was able to get out of it, but he's still admitting that it was still a dark time in his life. It's something that it's like an asterisk to his legacy to an extent, but he has moved past it. So I'm not saying the problem goes away completely. It's just you understand what I'm trying to say. If you be following the video, it's not gone completely. It's just something that you have to live through and educate yourself.
From your experience, like what is the biggest lesson you've learned?
I think it's quite simple. Don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs.
That's actually the biggest lesson I've learned. The solutions you should look for when you have
I don't understand. Wait,
problems.
you invited an ex-drug addict and you say, what do you think is the biggest lesson? Which other lesson do you want it to share? Well, I guess no, which other lesson do you want to say? Don't do drugs, yes. Come on. People and questions. I knew so much of the
temporary and should not be quick. They should be solutions that will actually give you lasting and permanent solutions to your problems.
I have a background in counseling, and I have encountered a lot of people who are into different levels of crimes. And one serious pattern I've seen is that they abuse a lot of drugs. For them to be able to do the things that they do, they need to be at a mental level that is beyond that of a normal human being. Do you think that there is a direct proportional level between the level of drug abuse and crime in our society?
Yes, I think that research will show you that very clearly. There is like a direct proportion it's not even in our country, everywhere. If you look at a country like Mexico, the crime there is really high because there's a lot of drugs there, there's a lot of cartels and everything. So the crime level there is crazy. There are places there that are not just safe.
Would you like to reveal your identity to us today?
Big reveal.
I felt it was important to take the mask off because right now I am no longer who I was 10 years ago. So you cannot call me a drug addict now. I'm not ashamed of who I was. The only time a mistake is really a mistake is when you don't learn anything from it and when you cannot teach people what you learned from it.
He's an amazing person.
For him coming out here, educating people for the
Like
younger generation,
shout out to him,
that's
man.
big ups to him.
Shout out to Yaro for.
I dealt with drug addiction for 10 plus years. I went to rehab for 1 year and I've been 13 years clean now. And I just answered questions from 20 amazing people.
Wow.
This is great. This is very great. This is very great, man. This is very great, man. Multiple applauses for you, man. Multiple applauses for you, man. Multiple applauses. You are truly overcome.
You didn't trigger anything. No.
Thank God for your life.
I'm truly overcome, man. I'm happy.
Treats people with empathy. It was because of his dad that he started taking drugs, because of his low self-esteem.
Understand that these persons are normal human beings as you. Maybe you're not doing it because the situations haven't presented itself with the level of pressure that they were in.
Something I learned from the show is that at some point, it stops being your choice. You just have to do it. The drug, more or less, is controlling you.
Because I have experience on my own, I got to know what to do, what I did wrong, and then how to proceed.
I know that there are some people that have been suspected that are dealing in substance. I need to move closer to them.
The things that friends around him could help him do, knowing that I could do such a thing to help my people. I mean, if they want to get help,
I learned that the rehab center Yaro went to is free, and he advised that, it can be used. And I'm going to give that to my friend.
If you're watching this and you're battling with any kind of addiction, believe me, you can beat it.
Try to seek help. We talk about rehab, therapy, and talk to someone.
Say yes to life and no to drugs.
It is very possible to be addicted and to live without addiction. I've done it, and I know a lot of people that are doing it and are still doing it today.
If you get to find out the person that infected you, would you be...
Man, shout out to Cruz, man, for that video, man.
At what age?
Shout out to Cruz, man. They really, for the fact that they found someone that actually went through this. Not just someone that they just come and just be like, okay, pretend like you were a DJ. No, they found someone who actually like went through all of this. Is actually coming. So an applause for Cruz, man. Round of applause for Cruz, man. Shout out to Cruz, man. Doing some excellent work over there. Man, it's a crazy world out there, man. You've heard it all, man. You've heard it all. Drugs will ruin your life, whether you like it or not. Drugs will ruin your life. They'll waste your time. They'll do all manner of things to you. The advice is stay away from drugs, man. But if you know someone that is battling with addiction, don't push the person away. Don't throw away that person. Don't make it look like, you're holier than thou. Don't do all that, please. Don't do that. Because that's not going to help the person. It's not. Let's need to draw these people in, man. We need to draw these people in, man. For the Christians listening to this and the Muslims listening to this, I don't think your religion preaches pushing people with issues away or with problems away. No. Like I said, community. We need to find a way to get these people, talk to them, educate them, pray with them, anything possible to get these drugs away from our society and to tell them that they have a choice. To put them on game that how far these drugs don't have to define you. These drugs, you don't need these drugs to. Now come on. You don't need these drugs to perform. You don't need these drugs to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q. You don't need it. Come on. It's been your boy A-Bax, man, and thank you for your time. Please like and subscribe and share the video too. Share the video to anybody. Anytime Chris, so if possible, man. Share the video. Anybody that you think is that this information would help. Please just share the video. So it's been your boy A-Bax and peace.